Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight. This is State Representative Tom Weber from District 64. Tonight we have with us Samantha Alonso from the Illinois Comptroller's Office. If you have any questions, please comment on Facebook Live video or use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your Zoom screen. While consumer fraud is down, likely due to the new chips that are being put in our credit cards, which cannot be copied by card skimmers, cybercrime and cyber identity theft still is up. Distressingly, and the reason I felt compelled to host this webinar, among many reasons, is the large source of identity theft that has been going on with people in our district in regards to things like unemployment. Even my sister recently had someone apply for unemployment under her name. It's been a significant problem nationwide with the increase of unemployment everywhere. State unemployment agencies across the United States are battling fraud due to the recent large corporate data breaches, which have led to criminals filing for benefits using stolen identities. The Illinois Attorney General's office recently said it was teaming up with the FBI to tackle unemployment insurance benefit fraud, but it is still a serious and prevalent problem that could cause issues for a number of innocent Illinoisans in our district and across the state, both employed and unemployed. I'm sure the Comptroller's Office will go over this in more depth, but IDES, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, recommends that anyone who has been notified of fraudulent unemployment insurance claim issued in their name call 1-800-814-0513. That's 800-814-0513. IDES says it has stopped about 350,000 fraudulent claims by people calling in. I'd now like to turn it over to Samantha Alonso from the Comptroller's Office, who will tell you how to identify scams, how to protect your information, and what to do if you find yourself a victim of identity theft. And as a reminder, please send us in your questions and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So Samantha, I will turn it over to you, and thank you very much for coming to join us tonight.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're very happy to be here. My colleague, Yao Cassie, will be joining us. We're very excited to share this information. It's very important. Like the representative mentioned, identity theft is a very big issue right now. So we're very happy to go in detail and to decrease the numbers of identity theft victims. So I'm going to share my screen.
Little technical difficulties.
Little technical difficulties, but I think I got it now. All right, do you see it?
Yep, there it is.
All right.
Can you go full screen?
Yep, there it is. Okay, once again, my name is Samantha Alonso. My colleague Yao Cassie is also here to talk about identity theft. So we're going to talk about identity theft, how to identify different scams that are out there, what to do if you are a victim, and how to prevent these scams from ever affecting you again. And this presentation will specifically focus on COVID-19 scam, different scams to deal with unemployment, different scams to deal with the COVID-19, false advertisements. So we'll go into all details about that.
All right, sorry about that. Thanks everyone, good afternoon. Some of the programs that we have with the Illinois Office of Controllers, specifically with Constituent Affairs Division, we're working on Bank on Illinois. That's a new program that's been rolling out. Smart Consumers. In our Smart Consumer programs, we have identity theft, just as this one is. Finance 101, basically talking about basic finance and consumer information. And then we have Next Steps, which is geared towards graduating high school seniors. Another program we have is or another one of our initiatives is Smart Business Illinois, where we basically try to get individuals certified, or we basically are like the network to help them get certified, just guiding them to the right agencies and the right context of that information so they can get certified for state procurement.
Okay, so a little bit of facts for identity theft is that right now here in the United States, we have over $44 million have been stolen as a result to identity theft. 1 out of 5 Americans have found errors in their credit report, and only 79% of them were able to amend them. And that's because a lot of people are not able to identify that there are credit report errors in their accounts. So we're going to talk a little bit more about in detail about why it's important to check your credit score at least once every year as a result to identity theft. Also, another fact that we have is that 1 out of 15 adults in the United States are considered to be a victim of identity theft, and there have been over 6,000 cases that have been reported as of January 2020.
Okay, so identity theft basically is just the unlawful use of someone's name, social security number, credit card number, or a bank account number. We generally hear identity theft a lot, but a lot of people don't know exactly what exactly is identity theft. So any unlawful use of any of the four is identity theft. And there's also various forms of like identity theft.
So whenever you are being contacted over the phone or in person and people are asking for a social security number, we always recommend that you ask these questions before giving your personal information to anyone. One of them is, why is my number needed? 2, how will my number be used? What will happen if I refuse to give you my information? And can I provide you the last 4 digits of my social security? If it's a legitimate company, legitimate business that's contacting you, asking you to verify your information, they should accept answering any of these questions. Also, when carrying your social security number, we also recommend that you keep it safe. Your social security card should not be carried with you like it's a ID or any kind of card. Something's very important, and they should always keep it safe. Do not carry your social security card with you unless you're actually going to use it for any kind of legal documentation.
So common COVID-19 scams that are currently exist, whether are in the various methods that these scammers use, would be IRS calls, text, or emails. The IRS, more than likely, 99% would not be contacting you via calls, text, or emails. If the IRS contacting you, more than likely they're going to send you out a piece of mail. Then payments for the COVID-19 vaccine, that's another scam that's common right now. Charging individuals for COVID-19 vaccines, and these aren't actual any medical providers. They're just is a scam method. Emails from the Center for Disease Controls and Prevention and the World Health Organizations, obviously the major health organizations that are in charge of COVID-19. So that's a way they feel like individuals will be vulnerable because they feel like, okay, it's a high authority and these people obviously maybe mean business. So, and also wiring money or gift cards to new people. Samantha could give you guys a great example of a story of what happened and how that happens when people just send money to random people. And as you know, it seems like absurd, like who's going to send money to random people, but it happens, and the various ways they try to scam, it's very unique. So they try to make it relatable, they try to be personable, and they try to seem like they're from official authority like the IRS, CDC, or WHO. Basically, do not pay a fine to receive your stimulus check. I know a lot of this might seem like, oh, it's redundant information, or this information that we already know is information that likely need not be said, but it does need to be said because scams are on the rise, especially during these trying times.
So unemployment fraud is a very big issue that a lot of people have seen as a result of COVID-19. Right now, more people, unfortunately, are applying for unemployment, and a lot of scammers are using this opportunity to also apply for unemployment, but with someone else's information. So some signs that you should be aware of includes receiving a IDES, which is Illinois Department of Employment Service debit card, or an employment insurance letter. So if you're receiving a debit card that you have not applied for, this is a sign that you should be aware of. Another sign is a state or federal tax offset. If you have been notified by an employer, so if your boss has contacted you and asked you if you applied for unemployment and you haven't, that's another sign to be aware of. And if you're unable to apply for unemployment claim due to an existing account, if you're making an account and you notice that for some reason they're telling you that you already have an account in your name and you haven't applied before, this is an issue and something you should look into as well. And if you have been a victim of unemployment fraud, it's important that you report the fraudulent claim to the IDES and the FTC. We will have this information for you at the end of the presentation. It's very important to do not activate this debit card. If you receive this debit card and you did not apply for unemployment, do not activate it. You should not activate it, but instead let the IDES know about that. And third, check your credit score. It's always very important to check your credit score, whether it's in regards to unemployment or for any kind of identity theft issue. We'll go more into detail explaining why it's important to check your credit score and how a lot of identity theft thieves actually use your credit score for their own financial gain. So we'll talk about that more in detail.
Identity theft in children. 39% of children have their identity stolen and 60% are stolen by family or friends. Just to break this down and like basically just try to keep it as basic as possible. Although children, we might feel like, okay, they're not old enough to have certain accounts, maybe a ComEd bill or light bill, phone bill, we might think they're not old enough, but there's certain methods that individuals take that they can, so that they can get whether it's utilities or services in their children's name, and it might not even be their children, it might be their nieces, nephews, family, friends, kid, or whatever the case may be. Their social security number is being used for utilities and whatever the case may be, and when they're of age and they decide to make a purchase of their own, they can't, because, well, in regards to it needing to run a credit inquiry, they can't get it. So if they're trying to get maybe a utility in their name, or they're trying to get a car or whatever the case they may be, and their credit is run and they can't get certain things because their credit is shot, because before they were even old enough, someone was using their identity to get whatever the case may be.
So another scam that's very popular right now with COVID-19, and actually everything, I'm sure a lot of you have already received a lot of calls from the IRS saying that you owe a fee for something, and that if you don't pay for this fee, you're gonna go to jail. So one thing I do want to make very clear is that the IRS will never contact you in person, in phone, or through email. If you receive any kind of communication from the IRS in those formats, it's a scam. The IRS will always contact you through letter. So, however, if you do receive an email through the IRS, it's very important that you do not reply to it. Do not click on any links. Do not give them any personal information. Do not give them social security or your credit card. It's very important that you do not interact with any emails from the IRS, supposed IRS. If you do receive those emails, you should forward those to phishing@irs.gov. We have that link right here on the page. If you receive a phone call from them, please do ask for a callback number and an employee badge number. Contact the IRS and report the incident to the FTC and the TIGTA. We'll have all the information for you in detail at the end of the presentation.
Okay, so this is an example of a phishing email from the IRS. Well, it's not from the IRS, but they made it have the appearance to look like it came from the actual IRS. When we look at this website, it looks just like the real IRS banner. It looks official, and they're asking your information. So if you don't think too much about it, you could potentially get scammed because it seems so official. However, they're not going to be asking for this info. They're not going to be asking for you to include your information, especially not through an email. And if you look at like the email, when they come from like scam websites, certain things are different. And if like there's certain like maybe spelling is off. And if you look at this email, sorry, it might be small. So if you look at the top right one and in a reply to, it says no replay at irs.gov. It might be irs.gov or something like that in the email. So just pay attention to like minute details and things of that nature. If you guys get an email like this, as Samantha mentioned, give them a call and send it to that, report it to the website.
So online shopping, right now that everyone is staying at home and protecting themselves from the coronavirus, a lot of people are shopping online. They're shopping online to get their groceries, or shopping online to get clothes or medicine or whatever it could be. And that's really great. It's really great that we are trying to be, safe and everything. However, it's very important that we shop online also in a safe way. When you're shopping online, it's very important that you do not save your credit card to your profile. So if you're on Amazon or if you're on Macy's or wherever you are, do not save your credit card information into your account, because if that agency or that business gets scammed, your information will be saved on their website. So I know it's going to be tedious to keep typing in your debit card or your credit card when making that purchase, but in the long run, it is to save you from potential scams. Also, we recommend that you do pay with your credit card. It has better guarantees under federal law. If you do have any issues with someone stealing your information and stealing your money with your credit card, the credit card agency tends to be a lot faster with helping you return that money compared to a debit card. Also, when you are shopping online, it's important that you use secure websites. So here we have an example on this page where it says it's a little padlock there. And the padlock, of course, is another safety measure. So when you use any kind of website or any kind of purchase website to buy anything, always check to see that that padlock is closed. Also, when you are going to type in any kind of link, check to see that the link has HTTPS rather than just HTTP. The S stands for security, and it gives you more of a secured method to shop online.
All right, so just another reminder, just beware of scams, beware of imposters, beware of fake charities, beware of fake lotteries, online sweethearts, and also donation services. I think Samantha has a nice story about, well, I wouldn't call it a nice story, but an interesting story about the donations and the fake charities.
Mm-hmm. So in regards to charities, I know a lot of people, they try to give back to the community or give back to any kind of cause. It was really important that you do be careful where you send your money. I know in Chicago, I don't know if anyone has heard online of the Marlene Ochoa case. It's a really bad, scary case that happened here in Chicago, where basically a young girl who was pregnant was killed and her baby was hurt for a long time. And the family, as a result of this tragedy, created a GoFundMe page. So basically a website where people can donate money to help pay for the baby's medical bills. And what happened is that this was such a huge story in Chicago. Everyone's very hurt about the devastated loss of, the young girl. And a lot of people wanted to give back. They wanted to give back to the family and to the baby. And people were donating thousands of dollars to this GoFundMe link. However, there were many scammers that were out there that heard about this story as well and created their own GoFundMe page with the girl's picture, the baby's picture, and so on and so forth. So hundreds of people were donating thousands of dollars to this cause, and they were actually sending their money to scammers and identity thieves who were making fake GoFundMe pages. So it's very important that whenever you want to donate to a charity, it could be, hurricane relief, it can be towards a cancer cause or medical bills for somebody, make sure you are donating to the right place. Contact the agency or contact whoever it could be, contact your local community organization if you're not sure, and ask them if that's a legitimate charity website. Like Yao said, whenever you go to a website or anything, you can look for spelling errors or look for something that's off. But it's always very important that you be careful whether you're shopping online or doing a fake charity, to be careful that you are putting your money somewhere safe. Because if they do steal your money, or they'll be having your debit card or your credit card information. They'll be using that for other purchases as well.
Yep.
All right. And another thing I want to add too about imposter scams. So we mentioned imposter scams right here. So imposter scams, that's basically when somebody contacts you over the phone and they pretend that they can be let's say it can be AT&T or some kind of phone bill services, a phone company, and they're gonna contact you and let you know that maybe you're short in your bill this week or this month. And if you don't pay back that money for that bill right there and then, you're gonna get your phone cut off. And phones are very important to a lot of people. Some people use it for work. I use it for work. Some people use it to communicate with other family members and so on and so forth. So you get scared. You get scared and you put on the pressure to pay back that bill right away. However, you don't really know if that's the legitimate phone company or not. You're just gonna, a lot of people just pay the bill right away because they're scared that their phone's gonna be cut off. So if you ever get a call saying it could be from the gas company, it could be from the phone company, it could be for whoever, that you're shorting your bill and you just pay it right away, we recommend that you, first of all, get the person's information, whether it's legitimate, it could be employee ID or you ask for the employee number or any or something like that, and you just hang up and call the legitimate business or company. Call the actual phone company or call the actual agency that you're supposed to pay into and ask them if you are shorting your bill, and you can pay like that rather than just giving it to the person who you talked to originally on the phone. So it's important to you that you end the phone call, do your own research, and just make sure that you actually are short or not short on your bill. So lottery scams, we talked about a little bit that as well. Lottery scams is when you get a phone call from somebody saying that you won a trip to Hawaii or you won $1 million or so on and so forth, but you didn't apply for that lottery. You didn't put money into that lottery. So whenever you get that kind of phone call, it's very important that you hang up and don't even respond to it. If you did not apply for it, don't even respond, because right away that is a scam. A lot of times those fake lotteries will contact you and ask you for your debit card or your credit card just for confirmation or something like that. And it's very important that you don't even respond to those fake lottery accounts. And then cry for help, that's very popular for people who have family members in some other part of the world internationally, and somebody contacts them and lets them know that there's an issue or that person who's somewhere else across the world is really sick and that they need money right away, and if not they're gonna die. Those scammers will find ways and methods to scare, I guess, the other person on the other side of the line and let them know that something's wrong and the result to get their money. So I know, for instance, I had a constituent that told me that their grandmother received a call one night saying that the grandson was in jail and that he needed money right away to get bailed out because he got hurt or something like that. And the grandmother was scared. The grandmother was sincerely scared for her grandson, and she gave whoever was on the other side of the line her information. She gave him her debit card information, her address, her full name, her social security. She was very scared for her grandson, when in reality, nothing happened to him. He was at home, he was safe. So it's very important that whenever you get those call for helps or those cry for helps, to if you want, you can save that phone number. But really, you should just hang up and call whoever it is or the family members of whoever it is to just confirm to see if that person's okay, because many times that could be a scam, and usually they're going to find ways, the most vulnerable ways to contact you and look out for you. And also we have the online sweethearts. Online sweethearts are also known as catfishing. So I don't know if anyone here has seen the TV show called Catfish, but basically it's when someone is online dating and they believe they're talking to an individual, and in reality they're not talking to that person. So they could think that could be a 20-year-old girl or a teenager, when really it's a man or someone that looks completely different, or someone from another part of the world, and they're just using that person's information to contact you. They're just using that picture to contact you and trick you to sending in some kind of money. So it's very important that if you are dating somebody online or talking to someone online, that you make sure that you are speaking to that specific person and that you are very careful with your money.
All right, just a refresher. Be aware when online and using social media. Um, so a common thing that I used to see, like while I was using one of the social media platforms, I would see like a game. They would call it a game, and basically the game would ask, I wouldn't say sensitive questions, but they would ask questions that would be someone's security questions to websites if you were to forget your password. So, for instance, I've seen cases where it's like, okay, basically like a blast from the past where it just has a bunch of blank fields, and the fields were like, what street did you live on when you were a child? What was your first animal or your first pet? What was your first pet's name? And obviously for someone who's bored, it might seem like, oh, this is interesting. I'm engaging with my social media followers. Seems like an interesting game, but what they don't understand is they're giving the social media platform all the information that a scammer would need to scam them, basically, because now even if they don't have the email address, they can go in, you know, we're not going to talk about the methods, but they could, you know, change someone's information based off that sensitive information that they put on a website. Also, you don't want to, like, you know, if you're going somewhere, you don't want to just, granted, I don't want to like say, okay, be like in a shell or like dim your light for someone else or a potential scammer, but you just don't want to put too much information on social media because you don't want them having enough information to the point where they know enough about you to scam you and to seem like they know what's going on. Just like Samantha mentioned about when the cries for help, when the son was gone, social media could have been a way that the lady knew or the scammers knew. Also, research before shopping online or donating to charity. I know it's trying times. A lot of people like to, you know, I like to not spend, I like to shop on sale and on sale only. And if I could get something on sale, that's what I'm going with. So, you know, a lot of these sites where they have like designer items, but you'll see designer items for like 89% off. Granted, some sites have that, but there are also sites where they're just completely false sites. It's not a real site. Um, yeah, but they have the information on there that appears real, and you can put your information on there and be scammed that easy. I remember my brother about a month ago. He called me. He was like he seen some jeans that he wanted, and he was like he wanted the jeans, but he was skeptical about it. He sent it to me. He sent to check the site. I looked at it. Certain things that I personally do, I like to like go on a website, see if there's any reviews. If not, go on social media platforms, see if they have any social media presence, see if, you know, people are responsive to them. That way I feel comfortable enough to feel like, okay, this is official. So ways to not get scammed, things to not do, answer calls you do not recognize. I get some like random calls, but fortunately for my phone carrier, I have like a scam call blocker. Even though I do have that, some still come through, but I have caller ID as well. So like when I'm on the caller, like if I see random long names or whatever the case may be, I just don't answer. And typically it's a scam call because if I go to my voicemail, which is automated to text, I see it's some weird stuff or whatever, or somebody calling about some car warranty insurance that I just don't have. I didn't have car warranty when I bought the car. I never had car warranty. Okay, so yeah, and don't click on the phishing emails. You click on phishing emails, that they're alone, sorry, can be enough for an imposter or scammer to hack your computer and your information. And also, if it seems too good to be true, it's probably not true. One more story. I've been telling all the stories like I'm Dr. Seuss or something. But a true story. So I was maybe in high school at the time, and I was trying to get like a little job, a little real quick job. And I think I was applying on some website, and they emailed me back, and I thought it was official because they're like, okay, you've been hired. It was like a housekeeper job. They said, we're going to send you a check and you buy the supplies and yada, yada. And with the rest of the money, you just give us the rest of the money and you send us $400. That's what they said. So you buy the supplies and you send us 400, but the check was like for 1,000, and it was just like the numbers didn't make sense. So, oh, they asked for the information first, and then they're like, okay, we're going to send you a check so you can buy the materials and supply. At the time, granted, like I said, I was in high school. I didn't know any better. They didn't ask for any personal information as far as like social security number or anything, but they wanted address so they can send the payment. That was all, name and address. Unfortunately, and to be honest, I provided that information. I'm not ashamed to say it because like I've learned from that and I didn't. So I kind of was skeptical after I received the check and I'm like, this check doesn't seem official. So I went to the bank and I didn't go straight to the machine and cash it. I let the banker know what the situation was, let him know. I showed him the email, showed him the check, and he was like, honestly, like even just sitting down with him, he told me like, yeah, sounds too good to be true. And the check, unfortunately, wasn't real. Fortunately for myself, I didn't cash the check, and also fortunately, I didn't provide too much more additional information, whether it was a social security card, but I did provide my name and address. Yeah, so just be careful. Like they come in all ways, like they're coming from every angle, always be careful.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the scams already and different scams that are out there. So now we're going to talk about what to do if you are a victim. So if you are a victim of identity theft, you can apply for either a fraud alert or a credit freeze program. So this is a fraud alert. The fraud alert you can apply for. It's free. It's good for up to 1 year and can be extended. And basically what it does is it warns creditors to verify your identity before issuing credit. So to do this, you have to contact one of the 3 credit bureaus. We'll have the information in a couple slides, and just let them know you want to apply for a fraud alert. It's completely free and it's good for 1 year, and it's more for a temporary protection. You can extend it if you want to, but if you want to do it for a longer amount of time, you can do the credit freeze, and I think y'all will talk about that right now.
Yeah, so basically a credit freeze basically just alerts creditors to potential fraud. It's indefinite until you cancel, so you can cancel at any time. It's free for everyone via the phone, online, or you can write a letter, and it will not affect access to credit cards or credit score. So it's not going to affect you at all. Basically, it's just putting a freeze on your account until you're ready. So if you're going to make like a big purchase, if you plan on like opening up any like new credit lines or getting your credit check ran, then probably wouldn't be like honestly, it wouldn't be like a good idea to get it right before you're going to do something like that, because you're going to have to call each one of those credit bureaus and get the freeze removed, so that way you can apply for new credit lines to get your inquiries ran. Also, one more thing that I want to mention: not only does you can freeze your credit, that's something that can be done with your credit cards and debit cards, depending on the carrier. I personally have like a credit card that's on the way. I unfortunately didn't get the credit card. I know I told you guys I was done with the stories, but one more story, because this is recent and relevant. So I have I don't know if I have a mailbox issue with my building or whatever. So when the mail lady leaves, sometimes my mail is open, and unfortunately somebody took my credit card that came in the mail. But because I knew that my mailbox is open from time to time, like for whatever reason, I already put a freeze on the credit card, so no one can actually use the credit card or do anything with it, even though they have the credit card. So yeah, bringing that all back together to the freezing your credit is always just a similar situation. It's just, granted, with my phone and with the credit, it's just like a push of a button. With this, it's more of a complicated process, which is why I wouldn't suggest doing it right before a big purchase or anything like that. But if you feel like you're sensitive, your information's out there, you have received any emails saying your information might have been breached due to a breach, or your information might have been compromised due to a breach, or whatever the case may be, and you you feel this might be the best option. This might be a good option for you. So no one can affect your credit.
And then one thing I want to add too is that the credit freeze, since like Yao mentioned, it's indefinite. So you're gonna have the credit freeze until you call the credit bureaus and cancel it. So we recommend that senior citizens and children have that because they're the kind of people that they're not gonna be applying for any credit cards or make any large purchases anytime soon. So we recommend that senior citizens do that and children do that. So when in doubt, whenever you're confronted or maybe confronted with a scam, we always recommend that you check your bank account frequently. So you should always check your credit card, your debit card account, and make sure that all the payments that are made with those accounts are legitimate in accounts that or in payments that you have made. A lot of times scammers will start out by taking a small amount of money. They'll take maybe $1 or $2 from an unknown or unfamiliar business in your account. And if they notice that you haven't canceled a card or haven't done anything or reported it, they're going to start taking more and more money. So that's why it's very important that you check your bank account and to see if all those payments that have been made are accurate and legitimate. And if they're not, always contact your bank and let them know, and they'll issue you another debit card or credit card. Also, it's very important to check your credit report. We recommend you do at least once a year. There are many agencies and departments that will do it for free. I know the credit bureaus that we have later on in the presentation, I think they allow you to do one free credit report a year. And it's important that you check it. You make sure that all the credit that you have pulled out is actually your legitimate credit. Because a lot of scammers, what they do is they'll make a large purchase, they'll have a loan, they'll have debit cards, and they're going to use your information and they're not going to pay back those loans or debit cards. And as a result, you're going to be the one with the bad credit score and it's going to affect you in the long run. So it's very important that you always check your credit report at least once a year. And of course, research before you make a donation. Whenever you make any kind of donation or wherever you want to send your money, always research to see if that donation or that payment is legitimate. You always want to make sure that that agency is legitimate and that you're putting your money in a safe place.
Some advice to seniors: be careful who is given power of attorney. Record doctor appointments. Do not give personal information to strangers, and talk to family and friends if in doubt. I personally talk to my grandmother like every day, every morning, and she's one of the individuals that I know that calls me, or a lot of like, I don't know if individuals know that she's a senior citizen or whatever the case may be, but she gets a lot of, scam calls or whatever the case may be. Not so for whatever reason. So she calls me and sometimes she's like, "Oh, I have to pay this bill," or I got this email. Well, it's more so not emails, but it has been that in the case before. But more so it's like, "Oh, these people called me and said that I have to pay this bill," and I'm like, "Granny, that's probably not valid anyway." Especially if you already taken care of it, like not even to worry about it. Like, let's not double pay. So just check up on your individuals. Make sure you all are in communication. And if you all are in doubt, just say, "Hey, I got this phone call, or maybe I got this email, and they maybe are requiring a payment, but I don't know if I have this account." Just check. Ask questions. Don't just assume that, oh, because you have maybe someone sent you like an invoice or whatever the case may be. Don't assume that it's actually yours and you have to pay it. Be careful. And even when you're using your shopping and you're on those websites, be careful. Another way, so when we talk about like record doctor appointments, make sure individuals aren't calling and scamming and just like saying, "Oh, you have these," whether it's like a prescription refill or a medical appointment, and they're trying to get a copay out of you. Well, really, they're just trying to get your information out of you. So just be careful.
So some frequently asked questions that we receive in our office about identity theft. We have a couple of them here. One of them is, how can I identify a scam? So honestly, like y'all mentioned, if you think it might be too good to be true, it most likely is. If you have a bad feeling about someone contacting you saying that you haven't paid a bill when you're pretty sure you have, always follow your gut and do research to make sure that you actually did pay the bill or did not pay the bill. Hang up and call the actual agency to verify that you did pay the bill. if you received a phone call saying you won $1 million, if you get any kind of phone call or any kind of communication that seems very unfamiliar, like Yao said, if you get a call asking about a car warranty, you never had a car warranty, always try to listen to your gut and always try to do more research to see if it is legitimate or not. And always never give your information if you don't have a good feeling about whoever's contacting you. Also, another question we have here is, how can I check my credit report? You can contact one of the 3 agencies. We'll have them later on in the presentation. And I believe they give you 1 free credit report a year. 2, what do I do, or number 3 actually, what do I do if I keep getting scam phone calls? So we recommend to don't even answer any kind of phone calls that you receive on your phone if you do not recognize them. If it's an important phone call, they will most likely leave you a voice message, or now most popular, a text message. If it's a doctor or whoever, could be a bank, they will always leave you a voice message and let you know, asking you to call them back. So please do not answer any phone calls that you receive. A lot of times, if you do answer scam phone calls, they'll mark you as someone who always answered the call or a real person, and they'll keep sending you more and more scam phone calls. So it's very important that you do not answer any kind of phone calls you do not recognize. And the last question is, what do I do if I have been scammed? If you have been scammed, depending on what it is, if you've noticed any kind of subtractions in your bank account, you can contact your bank and let them know that, there are payments in your card that you have not made, and they'll issue you a new debit or credit card. And we also recommend to do the credit freeze or the fraud alert, depending on what it is or what your long-term goals are. If you want to do a 1-year fraud alert, you can do that and you can apply by contacting one of the 3 credit bureaus. And that can always be extended if you want to extend it. Or you can also do the credit freeze, which is indefinite, and you have to call all 3 credit bureaus. Because it's indefinite and it lasts for a longer amount of time, you'll have to call all 3 of them to set up the credit freeze. And if you want to cancel it, you'll have to call all 3 of them again to cancel the credit freeze.
All right, here's our, meaning like Americans, our 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So their contact information on there. Yeah, so here's the contact information. So if you want to send them a letter, there's a lot of things you can do with these credit bureaus. Just make sure you check in, whether you're going to report a dispute, whatever the case may be. This is the contact information, phone numbers, and websites.
Okay. And if you want to report a scam, whether it's through a scam that you received on the phone or through an email, you can always contact the Illinois Office Attorney General. They have online submissions here, and they also have identity theft hotline. They also have a Federal Trade Commission. Contact them there as well to report any kind of identity theft. They have a website here. You can do an online application. And then finally, if you received any kind of scams in regards to unemployment, whether maybe you're trying to apply for unemployment, but they say you already have an account, or if you have received an unemployment debit card, you can also fill out an application through the Illinois Department of Unemployment Security, or you can also contact our identity theft hotline to report the scam that you've received. And that's it.
Guys have any questions or answers? I'm talking about or answers or questions or comments. Oh, wow.
And if you need information, you can contact the representative, his office, and we can send more information to you. You can contact our office as well, the Constituent Affairs Office for the Illinois Department of the Comptroller. We can answer any questions for you as well.